Welcome back. We're so glad to have you. And with us today is Mrs. Julian Ogwal, a mother of 4, an accountant who decided 7 years ago to do homeschooling for her children. Welcome, Julia.
Hi, ladies. Thanks for having me.
Now, just to settle everything and just put us on the same page. Today we're discussing emergency homeschooling in our homes, especially because COVID-19 has put us into that place. So, Julian, I'll start with you. How old are your children, and what level of education are they at?
My children are 13, 11, 8, and 5. There are many. I get confused. Grades. The grades are sort of mixed up because I have taken a very unconventional route to train them. I go according to their pace. So in some subjects, one is in like grade 8, 9. Then in others is like in grade 7. Then the 11-year-old is like in grade 4, 5, 6, depending on which subject we're talking about. The 8-year-old is in grade 3, trying to run to grade 4. The 5-year-old should ideally be in pre-K, but he's gathered momentum because of his siblings, and he's like in grade 1, grade 2. Some subjects grade 2, the other grade 1.
Okay, what has changed with your instruction at home, given that we are facing this worldwide challenge, because they're not operating at the normal optimal condition? Has anything changed for you?
Well, because we're homeschooling and we're home most of the time, and most of our activities revolve around our home, not really, maybe extracurricular activities, which happen in the afternoon. So the co-op, we used to meet once a week with other homeschoolers. That had to go. They used to do swimming lessons every afternoon. They closed the gym, bars, swimming pools, everything got closed, including our swimming pool. And the bars, I need to mention. So it's mostly, so my extracurricular also went out, just kidding. So it's really the extracurricular activities. So teachers can't come over, really. I had to stop my piano teacher because my kids were like, no, they're going to bring us COVID, as we don't want to do any more piano lessons. So I've had to sort of change and transition more into looking for online resources that can, of course, they can't swim online, but they can like watch ballet videos and sort of try piano tutorials and things like that while we wait for the swimming pool to open up.
Yes, I see we have the same extracurricular activities. We are all suffering, madam.
Yeah.
So that's why, yeah. So we understand that your homeschooling was voluntary. It was by choice, and you started way before. So we can't wait for the opportunity for you to tell us all about that. But right now, given that most parents have been forced to school their children from home due to the closure of schools resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, what would you say? Like, would you speak to us about, since you're the kafulu in this, about the transition process most parents are expected to face from having to move from schooling to homeschooling?
Yeah. Okay, like you mentioned, mine was a voluntary choice. If my kids had been thrust upon me those days without me volunteering to look after them, the first thing I would have done would be panic and look for the next outlet. So first and foremost, breathe, calm down. They are your children, and you are very equipped to deal with this situation. Like, actually, you're the best person because you know your children in and out. Pumla, your child, no one can know his bukwa kulizo, his mood swings better than you. You sort of know the little quirks, and you know how to get them to do what you need them to do. So you're in a very, very good place. Let's start there. So you're the best teacher for your children. The other tip maybe I can give you is that even though your school may be sending school materials and you stopped your education in P5 or S5 and algebra is a trick, There are all kinds of online resources. My grade 7 to grade 9 child actually teaches himself a lot of the math stuff. Forget even mainstream school. He's teaching himself things to do with like programming, what he needs to be able to learn. He's learned to look for answers on the internet. So there are all kinds of resources out there. You just need to be patient, read up. If your kid is interested in something, or if they're doing math very poorly, there are resources to help you. There are videos that they can watch, and videos that are made to target specific grades. So they teach in very simple ways, then there are games. And so calm down, there are resources. In fact, people have even opened up previously paid resources and given them to us free of charge. So it's just a matter of letting your fingers do the talking. You will be fine. I repeat, that teacher who is teaching 40 children does not know that child as well as you know your child. So actually, your kid is very fine where they are.
That's good to hear, Julia, because I mentioned in the previous session, I was saying that I really don't know what my kids are doing, to be honest. But well, it's good to know that, I'm not the only one. My question to you would be, given that you were still working part-time when you decided to start this, how were you able to juggle work, your domestic life, and your new role as a teacher?
It was not easy. So that one, all mothers who want to homeschool, hats off, but you can do it. The first year, I was Hitler mommy, like I laid unrealistic, ground rules. Then I was like, maybe not. So I kept, you try, if it doesn't work, you step back. I had to sort of say, okay, we're going to study maybe 3 or 4 days a week from 7 to 1. Then I found that they weren't finishing their goals on time. So I would end up having to deal with scoring their work late into the night. Then it was a bit bloody. Anyways, I have since left that bit of work. But when I toyed with the idea of going back into part-time work, I've been practicing getting them to A, set their goals, B, I go through stuff with them so I know where they're headed. So when they drop me like an email or when they come and ask me questions, I'm not totally lost. I don't have to start doing the research there and then. If you organize your life and plan with them and sort of encourage them to learn to take the lead in their learning, it becomes so much easier. I feel like if I needed to get a job now, a part-time job, I wouldn't be able to, because we study from 9 to 1. And then the afternoon is left for everyone to do what they want to do. So a kid doesn't have to be in class from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. By the way, no, they don't. Give them 4 to 5 hours of school. If they're focused and they're enjoying what they're doing, the amount of studying that will happen is amazing. So if you just get a block of time and give them that, it can be done. But I opted to chuck this whole arrangement and just first come and pour myself into this whole homeschooling katemba. And I'm glad I did.
Nice one.
Wow. Ju, you seem to have given a couple of tips even in your last submission, but maybe just to refocus and maybe speak to a parent out there who is considering this option or who has been forced into homeschooling their child, what tips would you give them, I guess, to manage and juggle the other parts of their lives?
Let me unleash my long list, which I have put down here. I've already mentioned that first and foremost, you're very equipped to do this. Like you're really, there's no one who can do a better job. 2, children, I've watched my 5-year-old get really excited about class. Guys, excited about adding numbers. We start with 1s. Then, I can add 10s. Mommy, let's go to hundreds. Okay, now let's try thousands. Children are excited about learning if the environment is creative and fun. So sort of open up. I toyed with the idea of just letting them do what they want to do. I just sat back and observed them for a whole day and the stuff they got up to. Currently they're trying to build a robot that's taller than the youngest, and they're trying to do a Lego city. I didn't tell them to do anything. But in doing this Lego City, I've seen that they really are creative. So let the kids play. Give them time to. Playing is not a waste of time for children. It's a way that they learn. So as a parent, while you're busy working, just keep casting an eye. Of course, when things get bloody and people are kicking each other and step in. Otherwise, even those ones, you let them get bloody. It's a learning. That is conflict resolution. And then when they're playing, when they're like role playing and things, all kinds of problems come up, and you observe them and you see how good they are at problem solving. Very often, I hand my role of mother to any child, whoever is acting up. I'm like, okay, your mother, now deal with your siblings. And they actually sit and negotiate on round table type things over, you last time you did ABCD. So this time, let kids be kids, step in from time to time. Of course, we can't ignore the fact that they need to study the way the government expects you to send them back to school that they finished addition, subtraction, and multiplication. That one, let's not ignore. You also carve out time for them to do the mainstream education. But you guys, I promise, learning does not only happen when a child is opening a math textbook. It can happen when they pick up a Hardy Boys, they're learning a lot of English. It can happen when they're cooking or baking a cake, they're doing measurements and things. It can happen when they're building a sand castle. When their friend comes and kicks it, that is a lesson for forces of nature. That could have been a hurricane or an earthquake or a mudslide. There is learning that can happen anywhere. You just need to keep your eyes open and see. And of course, kids learn through different. My first child will sit in a corner by himself and read without being prompted. He will teach himself everything. My next 3 want you to sit, tell them stories. Then they'll ask you questions. And we found that we've had like hour-long discussions. And in that discussion, we've studied history. We've talked about the Bible. We've done English lessons because they ask questions and they're using the wrong tenses. And I'm like, no. So just be present when you can be present. And when you're present, be present. Observe, study, encourage, guide, teach. You'll be amazed at how much learning will happen when you are present as a parent. Yeah.
Oh, Julia, I was expecting a longer list. You had one dash, so I was like, whoa, list on its way.
My list is still there, madam. Don't be deceived. But I am trying to manage time. I have learned to also be a manager of time, Mimi.
A manager of time. It's amazing, Julia. Everything that you've just said. I mean, I live by those. I believe like profusely on everything that you've said. I was just like, I wanted to scream through the TV. Thank you so much,
Manuela.
Yes, darling.
When she was speaking, I was like, this sounds like Manuela dealing with the Biancas and Blakes 10 years from now, 5 years from now. Same. CG teaching, learning, what? Good stuff.
Yes, yes. I really do believe that learning happens first at home. And here is a fact, guys. Government, one of the first institutions to close when COVID-19 became really vivid for all of us was schools. And you can bet schools will be the last ones to go back. So the chances that we're going to continue homeschooling our children are actually quite high. I would like to appreciate Julian for being, really honest enough to tell us, one, moms, we are equipped for our children. These are our offspring. We are equipped. And secondly, I think the biggest thing that we've learned is that there are resources out there. There are resources out there. You can't say you don't know that gravity is 9.8 grams per meter squared. Not anymore. So thank you so much, Julian. We appreciate your time coming here and sharing your experiences with us. We can't wait for a time where we can take you deep into the real conversation of how homeschooling started for you, especially for parents who, after this period, are going to decide, I can homeschool my child. And for the rest of our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. As usual, with love from Bump Love.